Very pleased to be joined by my next guest from TNA Wrestling. He is a coach at the Stampede City Wrestling Academy, wrestling with Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, September 5th at Sacred Ground, part of the Singhs In The Ring movie, September 24th at the Calgary International Film Festival, and Dungeon Wrestling with WrestleWeen coming up October 17th at the Victoria Pavilion. But aside from that, not a lot going on with our guest, Raj Singh. Raj, do you just hate free time? Thank you for doing this. How are you?
Oh, of course, man. I had to make some free time for the Calgary faithful. Yeah, man. It's you made it sound like a lot, and now that you're saying it, I'm kind of thinking like, damn, I got to do all of that stuff. All right.
I didn't make it sound like a lot. It's a lot. That's just what it is. There's just a lot of things on the a lot of things on the docket. How is this something you like to stay busy, like to have a lot of kind of irons in the fire?
Yeah, I think it's just with the lifestyle I chose and the career path I wanted to like lay for myself. It's kind of fulfilling, because we're not going to be, I could be sitting at home hoping to have work. So now I guess, being this busy is a good problem to have.
Hmm. Yeah, that's very fair. And I mean, in this industry where like if you're not working, you're not getting paid. With certain organizations anyway, I would imagine busy is certainly better. Obviously, a lot going on in the wrestling world right now, and a lot going on with you. I want to cover all the ground, but with TNA Wrestling, obviously there's a lot going on with that promotion and different ties with WWE and everything like that. I guess just what's the overall vibe with TNA Wrestling and your spot there right now?
So it's like a two-part answer, everything's great there. It's like the morale's really high. The talent is, it's oozing through the TV screen right now where people are just watching the show more and more, and they're kind of like surprised at how good everybody at TNA is, but really it's always been that good. It's just getting more attention now. So I think the growth that the company has is a really good thing for pro wrestling. It's giving more jobs to a lot of the guys and girls out there. So I think that's really important. As for my spot on there, you know, I don't like sitting at home. I want to be as busy as possible. So the part is, like I've equated it to being like a fourth line hockey player. Sometimes you got to sit in the press box. Sometimes you get back in the lineup. So that's kind of where I'm at. But that's okay because that doesn't mean that then the next opportunity is not around the corner. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. There is a show coming up in Edmonton, September 26th and 27th for TNA. So whether they like it or not, I will be in the locker room and we'll figure out what happens from there.
Fair enough. That checks out. I forgot to put that in the laundry list of things that were going on, so apologies. But yes, end of the month, TNA Wrestling coming to Edmonton, and I've like TNA has always had a very interesting place in wrestling, and it has certainly changed dramatically from different points, and it does seem like it's on an upswing right now. To see
Yeah.
that the company getting some of this attention, is it just from your perspective, just kind of like a, hey, we told y'all, like there's a lot going on here. Happy you guys are watching, but you should have been here for a bit because there's a lot of good stuff happening.
That's a great way to put it. You like that's exactly how I want to be because we've always been here. All we needed was the opportunity and the eyes. A lot of people get that. It's not like a recency bias, but like they see the big shiny toy with like the branding from WWE or AEW. Yes, they are great, of course, but it doesn't mean it's the only game in town, right? So you pay attention to somebody else. You see those fine independent artists and all of a sudden the independent artists become your household names and then the superstars. And I think that's really important to give everybody a chance.
Yeah, kind of the 20 years in and now they're an overnight success. That sort of a thing.
Yeah.
The Wrestling Academy too. I would imagine if TNA is not using you, there's a lot of time to fill with Stampede City Wrestling Academy.
Yes.
Going over the website, a few things kind of caught my attention, but I guess for you, what made this kind of a necessity to do? Well, what kind of drew you to doing something like this here in Calgary?
I've always had the desire to be involved with wrestling, whether I was going to be on screen for X amount of years or if I'm going to be on for X amount of years longer, wanted to be in the maybe a front office role of some sort. And I always just like really enjoyed teaching. It's the same thing when I play hockey or I have hockey teams that I run. I'm usually the guy that's like strategizing and helping with all the boys on the coaching side. So with the wrestling school, it's kind of like, we don't want that. the art of wrestling to be lost. We don't want it to become like, the Cirque du Soleil type show. We still want to teach that groundbreaking wrestling, like the technique, and the stuff that like made me fall in love with the sport, right? And a lot of my friends that you all see at Dungeon Wrestling, Maple Leaf Pro, things like that. All these guys have that base. So obviously, doing it in Calgary with the rich history we have, I just it's a no brainer for me. And I love this city. I mean, surprise, surprise. But I could live anywhere in the world. I have a property in Puerto Rico. I spent a lot of time over there. Not as much as I'd like, but Calgary is always going to be home. So it's like lay something down, build a foundation, and hopefully grow it into something that the city really loves.
Well, one other thing, as someone who has never got into a wrestling ring from a wrestling capacity, they've given me a microphone a couple of times. But from that standpoint, the thing that I always hear as a fan for kind of critiques for wrestlers and stuff is once you think you're going too slow, slow down. Do you think is that still, I guess, an issue for younger wrestlers today? Is that kind of the main thing that you're seeing with different people coming through and different spot shows and stuff like that you've done as well?
Yeah, I agree with that. You know your wrestling stuff. I noticed that. The Yeah, it's like the excitement that people get, the adrenaline. It's not like a knock or a personal attack on anybody, but that excitement happens, and it happens for people that have been around the business for a very long time as well. I can get in the ring with a legend like Tommy Dreamer, and all of a sudden I'm like that brand new rookie all over again. Doesn't matter how long I've been in the business, right? So when you have things like that happen, it's just how you said the rookies get, or the people that are less experienced, they get a little antsy and just sometimes want to do a little too much in order to entertain the people. But it's just like, hey, that's what the Stampede City Wrestling Academy is going to be about. We're going to teach a lot of that stuff too, right? Because we want to teach it as a whole, and that means everything, like the crowd interaction, the way you carry yourself, your persona, and like create champions, if that's how we can put it.
Very love that. Love that. Well, one of the things looking at the website was kind of a tape study and a film study as well. And I don't know why that's not something that kind of dawned on me, but like the overall, like the biggest ones that you're doing are going to be on television. So look at what it looks like. You should see what people are seeing because that's how most people are going to be consuming this when you get to the higher levels. How important is kind of that part of it, the tape study to see like, hey, this just so you know, this is how you are coming across to the other eyeballs that are outside and actually consuming what you're doing.
100%. And it's like, the practice is not only in your technique and in your dieting and like training like that. The practice comes in your mind. So if we can teach, like, the coaches that we have at the school along with the students, like it's going to be like a partnership. Like we'll bounce ideas off of each other, and I'll say, hey, this is the type of move you like to do. Okay, these are different ways we can accentuate that move, like make it look better or have it become your staple. But what we're going to do is through the film study, we're going to see what works, what doesn't work. With the crowd interaction. Sometimes you've been at shows at the Legion downtown or at the Pavilion. There are two separate types of stages. One is all like stage front, and the other one is stadium seating with everybody around. So then now there's two different ways to have your matches because of where the crowd is sitting and where the camera would be or could be. So there's just things like that that are going to be very important. And if we can get that repetition, not only like in the movements, but also in your mind, it's like, okay, I've seen this before. I've seen this before. You watch yourself on camera and you can picture yourself, what you're going to look like on TV, as you said. So I think it's really important. And why not? NHL players do it. The Calgary Flames, they have to go and do tape study. The Stampeders are doing tape study. Why can't we? What we should, it's only going to make us better. And I think it's something that's really important.
You talked about like how like different audiences, right? And the shows that I was at the most recently have been at different bar locations in Calgary, right? Like when that they were doing some stuff up at Brickwell Tap House and getting to do some ring announcing there.
Yeah.
And then the stuff outdoors at Mugs on just off
Yeah.
of 17th
I
Ave.
saw you there that day. I saw you
Yes.
there that day on the outside. That's right.
Yeah, yeah, I stand out even amongst wrestling fans. The beard is extra beardy, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But with stuff like that, where people maybe aren't necessarily, I guess the best way I can put it is they're on purpose, where they're walking up and oh shit, a wrestling ring. Well, guess I'll hang out. Do you? Or should someone maybe perform a little bit differently for that compared to you're not just stumbling upon the pavilion on a Friday night in October, right? Like you are there to watch wrestling. Does that kind of different audience expectation maybe change how you would go about things?
Yes, you're asking some killer questions that are gonna like maybe expose the business a bit. No, it's not gonna expose the business. That's a really good question, actually. And it is also something that, we all got to remember. You don't want to take yourself too seriously, too, either, right? You got to have fun because wrestling fans are there at the shows to have fun. They want to enjoy a good night. You never know. It could be somebody's first date night ever. Could be like someone's anniversary, birthday parties. There's a lot of different types of crowds that are there. So then you play up to it. But that's also the beauty of pro wrestling. You come to a show, you're going to see, say, 6 to 7 matches, and there's going to be so many different characters, so many different types of personas, and they're all going to like cater to different sets of fans. So let's just say I'm there and I'm having a fun loving match at the Mugs Pub, how you were watching. Then the next match is going to be all serious, and now the fans are going to get both.
Mhm.
But then I'm not going to be fun loving when I'm, like how you said, when I'm at Maple Leaf Pro, TNA, or Dungeon. Not a chance. I got to go put on my best performance. Not to say that the fun loving's not, but it's just like we want to cater to the fans and give them something to remember. But then
Mhm.
when they come to watch the wrestling match, it's like they want to see that simulated event. They want to see that simulated competition as to who's better than the other.
Yeah. Last one on this, and then I will stop exposing the business here with you.
Yeah.
Like going to those shows and stuff. You'll see some of the younger guys and newer guys. They come
Mhm.
out and say, "Hey, that guy's pretty good. Like that guy's got some. Maybe there's something like that." And then not to blow smoke, but someone like you will come out and it's like, "Oh, that's different." I kind of see that now. When did that click for you? That kind of like, okay, I have this I have this persona now that is kind of working for me. I have now kind of leveled up here.
Man, I've had such a long career that I kind of had that twice,
Mm,
which when I first started, it was my cousin and I, we first started, and we got thrown to the fire right away. We were working with guys like Harry Smith, TJ Wilson, other superstar talents. Like we wrestled Kenny Omega in one of our first 5 matches.
wow.
And it was like those guys didn't know that we hadn't even wrestled less than 10 matches. They had no idea. So the fact that they gave us that vote of confidence, I was like, wow. And then you kind of have how you say like the level up. I've been around the game. I grew up in the business. So I kind of like seen it. So it was a little bit easier to see what would work and what wouldn't work. But then after a little bit of time and injury, the career comes down a bit and then you get complacent. And then I had to start putting in some really hard work because I came back as my old usual self. And I can see that maybe a lot of people caught up, and which is not a bad thing, but then I wasn't going to stand out anymore. So then I had to put in extra work and extra time. And then that's kind of like it came with the traveling and the experience. When I was checking out other parts of the world, and then I came back and put everything together, that's when I kind of saw that level up. And I was like, okay, here's something with a persona that I'm taking like these people in Puerto Rico, like these people in Africa, like this, these people in the States, like this, and you blend it all together. And then you get kind of just make that big, larger than life character.
Hmm. On now to the movie, Singhs in the Ring, September 24th at Calgary International Film Festival. And it's funny, when I messaged you to set this up, I hadn't heard about that yet. So
Yeah.
we were able to add this to the line of questioning. But I guess for you, like there's a focus on you on this, from what I understand, a focus on your dad as well. I guess just how did this all come together from your perspective?
I got reached out to by a production company, but it was actually one gentleman himself who actually passed away during the making of this movie,
Hmm.
which really, really sucks. He's a good buddy of mine. We became good buddies. He contacted me a few times, and I think you yourself, being in like the entertainment industry, like when people come and ask you things or promise you things like, "Hey, I want to write a book about you," or "Hey, I want to make a documentary about you," the first thing you're kind of like, "Oh, cool, thanks, man, I appreciate it. Nice to meet you." But then when this guy showed his persistence over a few months, I was kind of like, huh, maybe it's like a real thing. And then he came out with a full plan. Like the movie's gonna be called Singhs in the Ring. I want it to be about you and your dad and your cousin. I want this story to be like this and blah blah blah. And he had the production crew. And basically, I talked to my dad and I gave I told my dad it was gonna happen. Hey, we're doing this. You got to sign here, 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 and here. And then next, thing you know, the ball got rolling, and it was kind of like it took a few months. I made it sound like it happened really quick, but it
Mhm.
happened over about like 8 months, where I was like, I don't really know who to trust when you don't know a stranger. And then
Right.
they become good buddies through a common denominator. They have a couple of buddies, like we know a couple of the same people, so it's easier to talk with you than it is with somebody else, right? But then, and then we started filming, and then we find out, like, just as we start filming, that the crew that was doing our movie, they did Jordan Tutu's movie just now. They
Mm.
did Dolph Lundgren, Michael Bisping, Danny Trejo. They did Biff Naked's movie. So they're doing all these people that are like huge names, and then they're doing the Singh family, like, and we're like, it's surreal. So when you're sold a promise like that, you're kind of like skeptical, but hey, it ended up being great, and I'm really, really excited to share this with everybody, especially Calgary first. The world premiere gets to be in Calgary. That's super dope. And then it is going to play in a few other festivals. Edmonton and Vancouver are announced. And we got some other stuff up the pipeline that I can't say just yet, but it's super exciting. And I think it's going to be a really good time for the city, and especially for somebody like my dad.
Hmm. I was going to ask about the importance of Calgary. Your dad, a legend in this city. When people find out that I'm into to wrestling, and I'm wearing the can't see it because of the camera, but Stampede Wrestling
Oh,
shirt
yeah.
from Sea of Dead today. Get a plug in
Okay,
there. But when you mention Stampede Wrestling, it does not take long before your dad, Gama Singh, and that name comes up very very quickly and with a
yeah.
lot of reverence. I guess how important was it for Calgary to kind of be the first launching point, given I guess like the stature that your dad has, and you and your cousin as well. But your dad kind of laying that foundation here many years ago.
You know, it's going to be a boring answer for you, bro. It was a no-brainer. There
Hmm.
was like no discussion, and that actually came from the production crew, where like a gentleman, Shane Fantasy, runs Fantasy Films, and the director, Gosh Sherman. There was no, it was just, hey guys, we're gonna do it in Calgary first. It was like, oh cool. It was like, I think everybody kind of knew it was like the right thing to do, and then that suggestion by the crew has been like a blessing, and then thankfully we get to go do the film in Edmonton, which is the home for the film crew. So that's going to be nice. And then we get to go to Vancouver, where my dad spent a lot of his like childhood years. I don't want to ruin the movie for anybody,
Yeah.
but Vancouver, he spends a lot of time, and we get a whole bucket load of our family get to come out and share with all the family and friends and fans and film lovers out there in the International South Asian Film Festival.
Wow.
So that's what it's going to be. Yeah. So it's super lucky. We're getting things happening to us now that like we didn't think were going to happen. And my dad now, like in the twilight of his career, like after his career is done, he's getting a resurgence, and he's like, wow, I got to do this and talk to this person, and this person wants to meet me. So he's having a fun little time all over again.
That has to be pretty cool for you, right? To see your dad get that level of attention again, huh?
100%. And I think, my dad, like I got a lot of love from people all over the world, but my dad was like a big star. And not just my dad, there's all those guys in the Stampede era. All those guys, they never got the love that they should have, because there was no social media. If somebody never randomly saw them at a local show, they might never have seen how good those talents were.
Yeah.
So it's just like it's really cool to see all that. And it's when you're a professional wrestler, we're just big kids, right? We're all just big
Yeah.
kids. So you get to
Yeah.
see the kid in him, like, like embrace the moment and have fun, have some laughs with his buddies. So that's all cool.
Being a part of this and now that whole the whole journey through this, what is something you would like people to take away from the film?
There's a few different things, but the answer I'll tell you is an exclusive to your show. Is for people not to give up, man. Like you and I, like we've run into each other throughout the years, and you've seen me that I've wrestled for a long time
Mhm.
in the city. And I didn't just make it overnight. It's not like, hey, and tell somebody, hey, I trained with so and so, or I was trained by this person, I wrestled here. That doesn't work like that. I had to put in a lot of time, where honestly, I've seen so many people quit along the way that it kind of like breaks my heart, because they're really good people and they're really good workers, good wrestlers. but you had me exposing the business. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, but the thing is, don't give up, man, because if you're chasing a dream and there's people out there that I hear they get motivated when they see our story or they hear about it and they say, yeah, man, I always wanted to own a gym, or I wanted to do this with my life. I wanted to do that with my life. Who cares how old you are?
Mhm.
Who cares if you never had a chance to do it before? Just get on it now. And I think never giving up and believing is what I want people to take away from this movie.
That's a fantastic message to get out there, and I am certain that your guys' story will motivate a lot of people in that way. I do want to ask about kind of
Yeah.
your journey, not just with the film, but just kind of tying in with it, where you do have a dad who is a legend in this space, specifically in this city, but all around. Like that is a name that people know. We have
Yeah.
seen in wrestling where people will have that kind of a lineage, and some will dive into it headlong and some will
Mhm.
maybe stay away from it a little bit. And I would always find that to be an interesting balance where, like, on the one hand, you know where you came from, you want to
Yeah.
honor that. There is a connection there with people as well, but you don't
Yeah.
just want to be the next Gama Singh. You want to do your own thing as well. Was that a tough balance to kind of walk for you?
Yeah, especially because every promoter that wanted to book me when I first started is like, your name's going to be Gama Singh Jr.
I assumed.
So,
Yeah.
which is funny because in our Punjabi Sikh culture, we don't even do juniors. There is never a junior in the history of like Punjabi Sikh.
Well,
Nobody
there you could
does
be a
that.
trailblazer then. Look at that, first
Yeah,
ever.
absolutely. Yeah. So with that part, it was cool. Like there was a little bit of pressure where you know it looked like I wasn't going to get away from that. But then again, I didn't want to get too far away from it, but I wanted people to know I was my own man as well.
Mhm.
So I think, yeah, it's like I don't know if you remember, I did the Stamina Poppy. I did a completely different character.
Mhm.
Changed my name. I came out like Gama Singh or Raj Singh didn't even exist. And then came out as a completely new character because that's what, wrestling is like art, so it's very fun and got to have a good opportunity to cater to the crowd. And then, yeah, it was just I did a good blend of it, I guess, where I
Yeah.
wanted to show the respect, but at the same time, make my own path.
Yeah, yeah, like you don't want to just like this is the only thing that people know about you is that hey,
Yeah.
you come from a good family. At the other side, you're not going to call yourself Kyle Williams and just go out there. Yeah, no, we're good, man. It's all just completely different, whatever, you know?
100%, right? Yeah.
Just kind of now while everything's going on, you like we said before, you have a lot of irons in the fire in the pro wrestling business. I guess where do you want to go from here? On to Ring or sorry, on to TNA, much more from what I gather, and for the card in
Yeah.
Edmonton, it sounds like they're not going to have a choice. But for you, like what are kind of the next steps and the next goals for you?
Um, well, I do have a couple of meetings with some people. I can't speak on it, but I do want. Yeah, I mean, I'm far from quitting, and it's
Mhm.
there's a lot left in the tank, like performance wise. But obviously, I just want to keep on the legacy, especially with the movie coming out. I think it's going to be now. Maybe how you just asked, like, was there kind of like an added pressure with my dad?
Mhm.
There's more of an added pressure now because there's going to be a lot of eyeballs because this movie is not just going to have that one theater showing in Calgary. It's going to
Right.
be on demand pretty soon, and it's going to be viewed by like quite a few people. So that pressure is going to be up there. But I also think I have like time left just because the way that my career has gone, the way my body's feeling, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling healthy. So, which knock on wood. Um, but it's like, what's next? Yeah, I just want to keep making my name. Like I said, I want to get out of that kind of fourth line role and being the guy that's in a healthy scratch. I want to come into the venue and know that it's like, hey, you're the power play guy today. You're that guy that's getting on that first line, go out there, crack that home run.
Yeah.
I think that's what I'm going to do, but also in the process, use that knowledge that I gain, like not just in the ring, but the production side of things, also helping the future generation of wrestlers. And I think, it's like we got to just try to make everybody around us better. And I think that's what I want to do with it.
Just one more on the TNA thing.
Yeah.
Just from what I gather from just talking with different people, like you said, mutual contacts and everything like that, and the little bit that I know of you from here, you don't strike me as the type who's just sit around and okay, when they call, it'll be fine. What is the kind of commute? Is it an open thing where you're messaging them? Like, do you just have a text scheduled once an hour? Be like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's going on? What's with me? Or do you just like kind of, hey, it's their decision. When they call, they call. Well, what is kind of your process and your kind of pipeline there with TNA?
Uh, I think I can speak for myself for sure, and I know a few other people have kind of like the same mentality. But no, I can't just stay silent and just wait for them to call me either. Like, because that's I'm showing them you're okay with it. I don't
Hmm.
want to annoy them. I don't want to bother them too much, but I let them know, hey, I'm right here. Like, don't forget about that idea we talked about before. Or hey, don't forget about that promo that I smashed 100% of what you wanted. I give the reminders, but you also don't want to be annoying.
Right.
But you got to find that it's with any job, you got to have that fine balance where you want to show respect and get respect at the same time. So
Yeah. Love that. All right, like I said, one more time. TNA
yeah.
Wrestling, Stampede City Wrestling Academy. If people want to get in touch with that, how can they do that?
The website and so the website Stampede City Wrestling Academy.com or on Instagram and X. We're also there, and there's a sign up button. So easy sign up buttons and email direct to our site. We have our admin look at everything, send it over, and we have our conversations with the students there. Or you can find me at True Raj Singh, both on X and Instagram. I'm super active, pretty active on there. Try to communicate with anybody and everybody that can, make their day if it works, or we find like a business opportunity together. That's where I'm found, man.
Right on. And then again, Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling coming up September 5th, Sacred Ground. Singhs in the Ring, September 24th at the Calgary International Film Festival. That's the premiere. Like Raj said here, that it's in Calgary a second time, and then a few other spots around, and then into your homes at different points as well. And then Dungeon Wrestling at the Victoria Pavilion back October 17th with WrestleWeen 3. Raj, this was a pleasure, man. Thank you so much for doing this. Hope we get to do this again soon.
Absolutely, man. It was fun. Thank you for having me, and thank you to everybody for listening. Appreciate it.